Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back, 0 hour. Tim Lloyd, joined by my man Jeff Hobbs. And today, Jeff, we have Jacob the Killer Kilburn joining us as we get ready to start this trek towards Aries Ampd. And this is the first of many interviews that you will see here on the channel as we get ready to work towards that August 13th Nashville show. It's stacked. Jacob, of course, will be fighting in our co-main event against Robbie Ring. Jeff, I'm excited to talk to Mr. Kilburn. He's from out originally your neck of the woods over in Clarksville way.
Yeah, man, I'm a Nashville guy, but Jacob, I have moved to the Sango area, so I'm now officially more Clarksvillian than Nashvilleian now. So,
Nice.
yeah, so I'm kind of excited now, kind of adopting myself into that community that we
I
met
got a
Jacob.
bone to pick with you. You're one of the people that's causing the traffic issues every time I go back home because
No.
move into. I'm just kidding.
No, Jacob, listen, I work in Cheatham County, so I'm smart enough. I take 41A to Sango or Highway 12. I do not get on the interstate at all.
Let's get into it, guys. Jacob, of course, as I mentioned, competing on August the 13th. Jacob, of course, a pleasure to have you, my man. We are right under a month out now at this point. So training camp in full swing. Of course, you fought on the biggest of stages. So we're very excited to have you compete on this Aries card coming up in just close to your original stomping grounds in Nashville, Tennessee, my man.
Yes, super exciting. I didn't know if I'd have an opportunity to fight back home. I just you never know that. I think the last time I did was under the Valor banner, and I just didn't know if I'd have another opportunity, and so kind of unfortunate circumstances that have me here doing it, but I'm excited. I'm excited at the opportunity to fight, to back home to where I, made a name for myself originally. And anytime I can find an excuse to go back to Tennessee, I'll take it.
Well, the last time you were fighting locally in Nashville on a card that I put together, it was a good night for you with a big knockout win over Ed Massey at the old fairgrounds. Now, they've torn that place down. It's a brand new facility, much nicer, and that's where it's all going to be going down when you take on Robbie Ring on the 13th. Now, before we get into the fight, let's get into just how things have been for you. You've relocated now down to American Top Team down at Coconut Creek, Florida. You've been there now for what was it, going on 2 years or so?
Yeah, I came down New Year's Day of 2020 to when the world shut down, to do my tryouts, and so it was like a 3-day process. On the drive back, Mike Brown called me and told me, "Hey, man, you're approved. You're good to go." And when COVID hit, the gym shut down. Only open to select pros, and it stayed that way up until this day. So, getting into the gym, you gotta kind of be somebody, which is like I still think it's so cool that I get to go there. So yeah, we moved down a couple months later. I was doing trips back and forth, and I was just losing money faster than I could make it between gas and Airbnbs, and we just decided to make the move and do the fighting thing full time. And so yeah.
So how are you liking it down there? What's obviously I'm sure the lifestyle, the pace and things like that, cost of living, certainly a little different than Tennessee. Is that something that you've acclimated well to? Do you miss home in some regards, or is it just like, hey man, this is this is the type of atmosphere I've got to be in if I'm going to train at the level that I need to train at?
Yeah, so I mean that's the reason I'm here. It's different, even though technically, geographically, it's further south. It is not. It is not the South. People, in Tennessee, someone at a gas station or working the register at the grocery store, they will be kind to you for no reason, just for the sake of being kind. It's not the case here. So, small talk doesn't exist. Just being friendly with people and customer service doesn't exist. The people on the roads, the traffic, there's a lot more horn honking and things like that. So I don't know if I'm adjusted to that yet. And the training's harder, so back home, whether I was in Clarksville or, I took a trip up to Nashville or whatever, I was the best guy in the room. Here, it's not the case, man. You got Olympians, in wrestling, Olympians in judo, world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists, world champion Muay Thai fighters. At every weight class, we've got every major organization. We hold a belt. I mean, the display case is ridiculous. We've got the highest um, uh, roster right now of professional fighters. So, in that regard, all these other guys are having to venture out and cross train and things like that. Nope. I have everything at my disposal right under one roof, and it's chaos. I never had days back in Tennessee where I would leave the gym crying, or I would get to the gym and have to like beat my chest and hype myself up to walk into the practice room. But it happens all the time here. It's just a different environment. There's no fun days, but you know. At some point, you know, everybody has to do that if you want to, if you want to do this thing full time and do it right. You can't be doing it at mom and dad's gym with the same three people you've trained with your whole life. You got to step up. So, I had to learn that, and you know, um, I feel like I'm better off for it. So.
Yeah, man, I think you see it all the time. It is very difficult to stay in your small pond and get comfortable with the guys that you're training with because you're more or less kicking their asses every day. You need guys to kick your ass, to improve to fight at the level that obviously that you've been competing at. Jeff, I'll tag out to you here before we get into like fight specific stuff with this one coming up. What you got for Robbie? Anything in regards to just like the move down there, new training,
Yeah, well,
that kind of stuff.
couple things, man, and I know you're talking about moving to that gym, but one of the things that we see a lot is when people do make that move, they completely cut off where they started from, though. But you have kept a really close relationship still with your Clarksville Harris Holt family. I know they still
Yeah.
follow you. They come. They've picked up posters and tickets for your fight. So how has that been? Still, how does that keep you grounded? Still that you kept those hometown roots, because we see a lot of guys when they make those moves to bigger gyms and they completely just cut off where they
Right.
started from, and you've elected not to do that.
Well, I mean, that's not the martial arts way either. There has to be some respect for your teachers and training partners back home. They were friends, they're family. So there's certainly no cutting off or anything. The move was something that everybody there fully supported and still does to this day. And yeah, like I mean, um, I still go and visit and do trainings there. I've gone back and done seminars or just gone back and donated my time. They sponsor me for my fights and stuff like that. And I've kept my coaches from back home as my cornermen. Those are the people that I wanted to bring to the UFC to get all the shirts and the gear bags and the shirts and the shoes and all that. Those are the people that I brought to the PFL. Those are the people that while I've headlined shows on Fight Pass and stuff. Those are the people that I've brought because I came here for the training partners, not for the coaching. Now I benefit from the coaching, but as far as like cornermen go, I need somebody that knows me, that's been with me for a decade, that makes me feel good and confident backstage. And I think they know as well as anybody, I'm going to do whatever I want to in the fight anyways. I just need water.
I have to tell you what,
So,
though. I mean, a lot of people think that that's silly, but you mentioned it. I've been there, working as long as I have with fighters in the industry. But you mentioned the gear bag, the experience, walking back in that UFC dressing room where they have the little sticker above the chair that has your name on it.
yeah.
That means a ton, and I know it did to me. When Courtney Casey, said, "Yeah, would you like to come to Texas and be in my corner?" And I was like, "What are you?" And that was just from my dealings with her in the XFC, and it was kind of her way of saying, "Hey, you were always good to me." That stuff means a lot to those guys, just to be a part of the process. So kudos,
Well,
for you, thinking of those people. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, you've always been a very classy guy, like you said, the martial arts way, things like that. You're not a big, crap talker when it comes to the fight game. You don't need that to motivate you.
well,
You're in a position right now where I know you respect Robbie Ring as a competitor, and he is part of that martial arts life. He's grown up in it. His parents have, gym owners that have trained him.
Right.
But this is that deal where I know you respect him because you've been where he's at, the young guy who would have taken this opportunity when it,
Yeah.
if it had been presented to you and jumping on it. But at the end of the day, Jacob, you're still only 27 years old. So I'm
Right.
sure this is not a, oh, I'm passing the torch, come and get it.
No.
It's definitely not that situation. So how do you kind of balance out the respect that, hey, you're a young guy and you're trying to get where I've been and you're trying to make it there through me, but hold up, partner, I'm still young right now and I'm not ready to just hand this over out of respect to you.
Yeah. So I don't even know how old the guy is. I'm not even aware if there is an age difference or not. I don't know what the narrative is that's been built or pushed or whatever.
I
The
believe
reality.
he's either 21. I think he's 21, or he may have just turned 22.
Oh, okay. So he's a baby. I didn't know. I just figured we were the same age. Um, no, none of that means anything. I'm still young. I just look at it like I was just ridiculously fortunate to have been given a sneak peek at multiple of the big shows, and got to go make a little bit of money and stuff like that. And but I mean, my manager and I were speaking last week, and he said to me, "You don't even reach your athletic prime till you're like 32, 33. Look at guys like Glover Teixeira who didn't even become champ till they're 40 years old. This is people that say this is a young man's game. Like time has proven that statement to be false because people don't even break into the UFC until they're close to 30. I mean, you have like a couple of the Kevin Hollands or the John Jones or whatever, some young like prospects guys, but usually, I mean, I got into the UFC with less than 10 fights. That's I got in way too fast. If it was me, I would have did like 10 more amateur fights. I think I turned pro way too fast. Looking back, with the UFC stuff, when I got the call that was like, "Hey, are you in shape? Do you want to fight in the UFC next weekend?" The answer was no. I hadn't trained in 6 weeks. I had some herniated discs. I should have said no. I don't want to fight. I will wait. But I said yes, and everything was rushed and blah blah blah. So no, I don't look at it as this is some kind of a passing the torch. I just look at it as I just got an opportunity early, and my career is kind of just starting now, and I gotta go. I gotta go beat up 3 or 4 guys in a row in an impressive way, and then get back and be able to kind of show that I belong to be there, and I'll be a grown man by that time and all that. So I don't feel old or any of that, because I'm 27. So
Well, really,
um,
for both of you guys, you made a good point, though. Because you look at it, Jacob, and that whole this is a young man's game, and in a sense, that's true because kids are getting into it at a such younger age. But look at how many of those young cats don't have the longevity. Your Sage Northcutts, they're in and out because they came in too soon. Yeah, they
right,
were phenoms when they came in, but then that amount of cage time and damage, they don't have that longevity. And I know back in the early 2000s, if you were 30 years old, you might as well go ahead and start talking about wrapping it up. But just like you said,
right,
right now, you're getting guys with that man strength. And if they didn't start till late, they don't have those miles on their body. And like you said, hitting their peak at now 31, 32, where before, 10 years ago, you better be on your way out at that age. So,
right.
it is a little bit of balance. Do you guys see that? Tim, even you being a spectator, like, yeah, there's a lot of 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds making it, but
But
is
they're
that
not. But
enough?
they're not having massive success when they make it. It's more
Yeah.
often that they're exposed. Your Max Rojkovs. Who's the jiu-jitsu kid with the kind of frizzy hair? He fought Bruce Leroy Caceres, and he got just absolutely. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
okay, yeah.
exposed very badly. Is just not being ready. So yeah, you see both sides of that coin. I think that there's a
I mean,
middle
that's all I
ground where
am. I was just the young kid that got a shot that wasn't ready and didn't deserve to be there. That's it. I mean, you can't paint the narrative as anything else. I that's why I don't walk around. wouldn't walk around telling anybody like what I do or what my job is or any of that, because they're gonna go to the they're gonna go to the internet and think I'm a fraud. So you know, um, that's all I see myself as is right now is just that guy who deserves to be the memes and deserves to get the go kill yourself comments and stuff on the YouTube, because
Oh no!
on the Instagram. That's what I'm getting, because yeah,
Wow.
I was the guy that I got my shot at the shows and I lost. So it's nothing to brag about. Like that's so many people brag about like being a veteran of the UFC or the PFL or whatever, and if you don't win, you're just a UFC loser. So I'm not even going to mention accomplishments or any of that stuff until I get there and get my hand raised. It might as well have been local fights. It doesn't matter. So
It's super
all I've proven,
refreshing to hear that aspect from that viewpoint from someone, because you're right, you shot very straight with us here. You do see so many people that will rest on the laurels of, I got to the UFC regardless of how they performed in the UFC, they're happy with that. So
yeah,
and satisfied more or less. And I can tell that you're not satisfied yet. There's you've gotten we talk about with other guys from time to time that maybe had a sniff of Bellator or something like that. Uh, but you even exponentially more so. You've had a taste of the pie. You know what it's like to be on that level, and now it's that or bust at this point for you. It sounds
right,
like you've moved.
right,
You've moved to you've relocated your life to try to make that happen. What would you
yeah,
say if you could do? I mean, we say everything happens for a reason or things like that. But if you could redo anything over again, is there anything because your record now 8-6, still a solid record, still not a record that to scoff at by any means. And like you said, you run off 3 or 4 in a row. You're 11, 12-6. Not you see guys with those records in the UFC again, especially with you having the strength of schedule that you've had.
yeah.
If you could do anything over again, would you, or do you think this has been the perfect way for you to kind of trial by fire? You went in there under the lights and saw what that level is like, and now you've adjusted your style of living to accomplish getting to that level.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't do you any good to think like that. Like, I should have, could have, would have.
If you let's say if you were giving advice to someone that's coming up though, that you
Yeah.
cared, that you had a vested interest in how they proceeded with their career.
And I do have a lot of those guys that I try to put my time into. And yeah, I mean, if I could go back, I would not have picked up the phone. I wouldn't have lied and said, "Yeah, I'm in shape." I wouldn't have, tried to lose 22 pounds in a week. Knowing good and well that I haven't gone to the gym in 6 weeks, to walk out there and fight a guy that has gone on to have a pretty successful career in Billy Q.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go do that. I would say no. I'm sitting on a win streak. I'm sitting on a knockout streak. I'm gonna, if they want to offer me something, they can give me a full camp. If not, I'll just fight a couple more local dudes, and they're just been. So yeah, if I could go back, I wouldn't have taken the fight. I would have stayed back and kept working and all of that type of stuff. And but so so that would be advice that I would give to other people is have more amateur fights. Don't be in a rush to turn pro so fast. When you do turn pro, look at it as you're starting over again. Don't be that guy that, okay, I got to have at least 3 fights to qualify for contender series, and then I'm gonna no, stop, dude. You are. I mean, it sucks because you can start fighting when you're 18. You can rack up 6, 8, 10, 12 fights, be 20 years old, turn pro, go win 2 or 3, 4 fights, and then be in the UFC 21, 22 years old. But that's not the way to do it. You still got another 8, 10 years before you're in your athletic prime. So suck it up, dude. You're just gonna, that's just the way. If this is what you want to do, you're gonna go be fighting somebody that's been doing it professionally for a decade, and you just started last year doing it professionally. So don't be in a rush to get to the big show, because I don't believe this is a young man's game. I think it's something, just the
Smart.
level.
It's a smart man's game.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's another thing. Like, there's a healthy balance between fighting 5 times, 6 times a year, and fighting twice a year, and quality opponents and good training. So yeah, if I could go back, there's a bunch of things I'd do differently. but you can't. I've also been like a not a victim mentality, but I mean, yeah, I've lost 4 in a row. One of those, I was winning the fight, I broke my arm. The fight before that, I was winning the fight, and then I got caught with a knee. The fight before that, I was supposed to be in Vegas, and then 2 weeks before they switched it to Abu Dhabi. So if you've ever fought internationally, and there's a 12-hour time difference, and every day you got to wake up and report downstairs to get something shoved up your nose, and um, you know, just it's a mess. So whatever has happened is obviously what was supposed to happen, and I'm just gonna. There's nothing I can do about it other than just make the best of my situation now. So go beat up Robbie in August, and then just see what's next. But I'm not gonna rush anything, and the right person will come for the right show and the right money and all that. And when it does, I'll fight. And if not, I'll just go to the gym and wait for the right fight. In the past it was like as soon as I would fight, it would be like, okay, what's the next thing? What's I got to get the next contract, and that's kind of foolish. I think for me at least, that's not the right way to go about it. Just wait and let the opportunities come.
Well, it sounds like you're saying, oftentimes you'll hear people say, "Hey, when the UFC calls, you gotta do it. It doesn't matter. The UFC calls, you gotta do it." At the end of the day, you don't. If it's not the right time for you, make sure it's the
They're
right time for
interested
you.
in you now, but you're not ready. Imagine how much more interested they're going to be if you go beat a couple more guys. So if you got good management and you're winning fights, the UFC is going to happen. If you win fights and you got the right people in the corner, you're going to get there. Don't rush it, because a lot of times guys don't get a second chance. So you go in, and it doesn't matter if you lose a close decision. You lose 2 and you're out, man. Unless you're just a star from another show and you're generating them a lot of money and ticket sales. But if you're a regional fighter and you get the call, you better make sure that you can compete with the champion, because if not, you lose 2 and you're out, man. So it's brutal. It's unforgiving. And you have to understand that people don't care about you. Don't be under the illusion that they do. Nobody's doing you any favors. So yeah.
Let's talk about Robbie Ring. What's your take on him as far as this fight goes? He's undefeated, has not faced anywhere near the level of competition that you faced. I think that's an easy first jumping off point here. Is if you're breaking this fight down, has looked good against everybody he's fought. He's looked like he's supposed to look. It'll be very interesting from my standpoint to see how he looks when there is a high level of resistance coming back at him. That said, a lot of confidence, very skilled, long, rangy, solid striking, solid grappling. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can say anything solid. The guy hadn't even fought 30 seconds. So I mean, just he hasn't even fought. His pro record hasn't even amounted to 1 round. So and I don't see that as a good thing. I just see that as I haven't studied the guy a lot. When you sent me his name, I watched a couple things and I was like, well, there's not too much to see about him, anyways. But he's a grappler. He's a wrestler, jiu-jitsu guy, and he has a hard punch, but his striking's atrocious. He's a very nice guy, and I'm sure that he's a hard worker and he is athletic, and he's real excited about the opportunity. But he's just going to try to grapple. That's all he's going to do. The problem is, I've got 30, 40 high level, like world champion black belts that are my size. And, I'm tapping some of them out. I'm not getting tapped. I'm going with Olympic wrestlers, with world champion wrestlers, with guys from Dagestan that you can't pronounce their name. And, it's just a murderer's row. Or if you look at it, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. But there's literally, you talked about, having resistance and stuff. I'm sure he'll be real excited for the opportunity, and he'll try to come out. It's going to be one of 2 things. He'll come out really hard, really fast, and start swinging like a maniac. And the first time I touch him, he's going to shoot. It'll be a bad shot. He'll try to run me to the cage, and I'll be bigger, I'll be stronger. I'll be a better martial artist. So we'll just shut it down from there, and it'll be just Dad's taking over control, or he'll be real tentative because he doesn't want to mess this up because he knows if he wins this, he gets a shot, and so there'll be a lot of feints and not a lot of action, and either one's fine with me. So he's either going to have nervous energy that works against him, or he'll have nervous energy that what am I saying? Like he'll be too aggressive, or he won't engage. Either way, it's not going to be the right answer. Like I said, he's seems to be a really nice young man. I like him a lot. We stand for the same things. And he really embodies the martial arts way. He teaches the kids and stuff like that. So I look forward to shaking his hand and getting a picture with him afterwards and stuff. But I think for where he's at, it'll just be a learning experience. And I definitely think he'll be in the big show one day if he continues the path, and if he expands out and moves to a gym, that's a bigger professional atmosphere and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've already been accused of like handpicking this fight and fighting a can, and I mean, I'm getting insulted for, and I look at it as like, well, you got to give the kid credit. He's never lost. He's excited. He's working hard and all that stuff. But I mean, I obviously don't think I'm going to lose. But I'm sure that he'll come out really hard, really fast as soon as the bell rings. That's what I'm anticipating, anyways. If he doesn't, that's fine too. I just don't have to work as hard. But he'll probably, come fight really, really hard as long as he can. But I mean, my chin is well tested. My endurance, my toughness, my pain tolerance, my experience. So it's not like he's going to hit me and I'm gonna take a back step. He's not gonna. He doesn't possess I'm sure he possesses the power to knock me out, maybe, but he doesn't possess the IQ and the setups and everything to make that shot land or happen. Not even close. I mean, I'm doing like rounds in the octagon with Edson Barboza with little gloves, sparring really hard, and they're very competitive. So, just I'm sure he'll come fight hard, but it just won't be enough. So,
how important is it for you? And I'm going to tag out to you one last time here, Jeff. I got one more. How important is it for you to go out here and have a statement win, not one where you go out here and either coast to a 3-round boring decision, or even one where it's a war and it's so close and it's back and forth? And I'd love to see that, obviously, for entertainment's sake and for the fans, but it's real close. How important is it for you to make sure you come out here and get like a dominant finish?
Yeah, I mean, of course that's important. For the sake of, friends and family, seeing it for the sake of, if you're finishing guys, you don't have to do as many fights to get back to the big show. But if you're winning by decision, you got to win twice as many. So it's no secret that all across the board, you need to be, submitting the guys or knocking the guys out, or just outworking them to the point they quit. You've got to go win impressively. But we also, if anything's taught me about the sport, is that everything can be going your way until it's not. So more than anything, I mean, half of my pay depends on whether or not I get my hand raised. So, yeah, if he puts his neck there, I'm going to take it. If he gives me the opportunity to get on top of him, it's going to be a terrible day. If he drops his hands, he's going to go to sleep. But more importantly, I've got grown man bills that I have to pay for. So if things go out there and the first punch of the fight, I'm bleeding everywhere, and who knows, man? I'm gonna have to do what I have to do to win. That's the most important thing to me, because I don't want another loss. I don't want to go home with half my pay. So that's the most important thing. But if you think I'm not going to go try to put something on my highlights, you're being silly, because my nickname's what it is for a reason. So, we'll see. Yeah.
Jeff, wrap us up here.
Yeah, my man. Now you're not in Florida by yourself, are you?
No, we packed up and moved the
That's
wife,
right.
the dogs. I
Well,
was on an airline trip
that's
for a year and a
that's kind
half.
of where I'm going with it, Jacob. That's my point. Is
Right.
that usually we're going to wrap this up, and usually we wrap it up with, hey, talk about your training partners, give shout outs to your gym and things like that. But I'm going to let you wrap it up talking about your wife because, like you said, you're not down there by yourself. This is not a solo adventure that you're down there, all by yourself doing. And understanding that the tough lifestyle that you've chose to lead right now, following your dreams, doesn't just affect you. And you've got a partner down there that is not behind you; she's beside you during
Yeah.
all of this. So instead of the cliche, typical ending to this interview where we talk about sponsors, training partners, man, I'm going to let you close this talking about how much your partner in life means to just your sanity and helps keep you going.
Yeah. So I mean, it's often not standing behind me or standing beside me. It's often picking me up off the floor. I've said it 100 times before. Uh, I'd be dead. I'd be dead over and over again if it wasn't for her. The struggles that this career and training and finances and injuries and right now I'm fighting a stupid suspension from something that I didn't even know I had. So it's just there's a bunch of silly things that pop up, and sometimes it gets to be too much. And there's been times, and just moving out here hasn't been easy, from the stuff at the gym to the state of the world right now. Things are picking back up, but finances. You know, getting the letters from the UFC where you're, hey, we're not gonna elect to resign, and just stuff like that. It's caused mental health issues like you wouldn't imagine. And if I didn't have her there, um, dragging me sometimes across the finish line, I have no doubt I wouldn't even be here breathing. She's often the only thing that gets me up out of bed in the morning. She reminds me of who I am, and what I've done and where I've been, and what I'm capable of, and she helps me with so much. She is my best blessing that I don't deserve, and August 13th, I'm gonna do my best to do right by her, to go in. Um, she deserves it. So
Well, I know
thank you
that
for
was
that.
that's
Thank you for that
yeah.
opportunity.
No, absolutely. That was the shout out that we needed to hear, but to end this, and but they deserve to hear it more than they do.
Mhm.
Right.
So we'll skip the sponsors and we'll let that happen on fight night. You can shout them out later.
Check my
This
social media. It's on there.
this that's right. This interview was for the wife at home.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, man, we appreciate the time,
What did
Jacob.
this
It's
just
been
become?
no, right? No,
Mhm.
I love it, man. This has been one of my favorite interviews we've ever done. We've done a freaking lot of them too. So, like,
Yeah.
this is without a doubt one of the best ones we've had, and we appreciate you for taking a good half hour of your time to talk to us, man. I think people are going to like this one. Make sure you check it out, guys. It's the co-main event for Aries Ampd. It's going down August 13th, Nashville, Tennessee. You can catch the pay-per-view at spectationsports.com. You can get your tickets at fightertixwithanx.com. Select Jacob from the drop-down menu so he gets a little extra scratch. And hey,
Or
Jacob,
if you're local, go to Harris
or
Holt.
go to Harris
They got
Holt and you can get
go to
them
Harris Holt if
locally
you're local. They
if you
got
want a
paper
paper
tickets there.
ticket, a keepsake, if you will. So, hey, we appreciate you and we appreciate the time, Jacob. Very honored to have you on this card. And man, we're really looking forward to August 13th.
Yeah, man. Hey, me too. I'll see you guys in a month.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Jacob.
All right.